We're back. You're listening to Executive Leaders Radio. This is your host, Herb Cohen. We'd like to introduce Shawn Patrick O'Brien, CEO of Genomine. Shawn Patrick, what is Genomine?
Genomine is a genetic testing company. We focus on mental health, and we are building the mental health company by the end of this decade.
How large or how small is the company now?
We have 85 employees.
And where are you from originally?
Chatham, Ontario, Canada.
And how many brothers and sisters do you have?
6.
And where are you in the pecking order?
Right in the middle.
All right. And what was going on with you 8 to 14 years old?
I was a busy kid. To get the attention of the family, I ended up doing all the work around. We grew up on a farm. My dad was a lawyer, but we didn't farm. But I did all the work, fixed the tractors, cut the grass, started a snow plowing business when I was 10 years old.
Wait. So your dad was an attorney. You told us in the green room, actually, that it was the largest law practice in that region. And your mom was raising 6 kids, but was also the manager of that law practice, right?
That's correct.
All right. So both of them are pretty busy. You're in the middle of 6 kids, and you mentioned you did all the work. Did they tell you to do it, or did you sort of like take it on?
I took it on because my older brothers weren't going to do the job.
So the point is you did take it on. And all right, Peter?
Shawn Patrick, what prior business successes have you had before Genomine?
This is my 5th time being a CEO, so I've built up businesses from 3 people to 150, sold them. I had a big pharma career prior to this, developed a product, Seroquel, for schizophrenia, took it from $110 million to $5.8 billion, and I've had several other successes over the years.
And how did those successes lead up to what you're doing now to create what you're doing?
Well, it really sounds to me like this stuff about this fact you did all the work. You sort of like took on the responsibility as a kid. Has a lot to do with your prior successes and your current success. Do you see a connection there? Am I correct about that?
Well, I'm a builder fixer kind of person, and tend to see value and opportunities that others don't, and then try to lead the team for them to see it and harness it and drive it forward.
Drew?
Shawn Patrick, you were working pretty hard as a youngster. What were you doing for fun?
I was very big in sports, sailing, water skiing, golf, hockey.
Did you have a particular sport you liked the most?
I still water ski.
And you mentioned you're a fairly competitive water skier at a young age, correct?
I was the youngest kid to barefoot water ski at age 10 in Canada back in the 60s.
And what did you enjoy most about water skiing?
It was a way that I out-skied my older brothers, and so it was a way to shine in the family, and it was a way to measure my abilities against myself
And have you brought that competitive spirit through to the business you run today?
Everybody will tell you I'm a competitive guy. I'm a duck on water. My feet are always moving fast, but I remain calm.
And you're going water skiing this weekend, right?
Every morning on the weekend around 6 o'clock.
Denise?
Shawn Patrick, I understand your mom's childbirth experience was especially challenging. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, she delivered 6 children in a period of about 7.5 years, and then the 7th one 3 years later, and experienced every type of birth going through her, whether it was dry breech or posterior veil birth. She did it all.
And what did you learn from her?
She was a very resilient woman, and she'll turn 90 this summer.
My goodness. Now, I also sense a real humility about you. Where do you think that came from?
I think it's a Canadian trait.
All right, David?
What was your father's reputation in the community?
Very strong, very giving person. He was the service club leader for several different things.
Like what?
Knights of Columbus, JC's, Rotary.
Wait. He was involved with JC's, Rotaries, and Kiwanis. What was his role in those organizations?
Each time he took the president role in his career.
David, what else you thinking?
You mentioned that your father passed. Tell me about his funeral.
It was a huge learning experience for myself. I realized how many people he helped, because there was hundreds of people lined up outside the funeral home each evening. And then on his funeral, it was Easter Monday, and we had 150 lawyers doing an honor guard for him, and over 1,000 people.
How'd that make you feel?
It drove me to want to give back to society and do the best I could.
I'm trying. Give me that connection again. What are you talking about?
I saw how much he gave. People came up to me in the funeral line saying that my father saved their lives, or did pro bono work for them, and that's why we used to get produce from several farmers every week for free.
And how did that influence you?
It's part of my core of being a humanitarian.
And you've been involved with 5 business successes. How very interesting. Matthew?
Shawn Patrick, you seem very connected to where you grew up and to the community. Could you tell us what it was like? Was it a town, a rural area, city?
It was a small town at the time. It was 25,000 people, and now it's 40,000.
But you lived on a farm.
We lived just outside the town on a farm, but my dad didn't farm. But I did all the farm work.
So you kind of had a town and a farm.
Correct.
And tell me how it affected you growing up.
In a small town, you know everybody, and but there was a lot of things to be done growing up. My best man in my wedding is a farmer, 700 acres, and so every year I would farm with him, plow the fields, do all the work, and fix the equipment.
Mm-hmm. Simon?
Going back to your water skiing, how young were you when you first got up?
First time up was on my dad's shoulders at age 4.
And how did you feel when you were up there?
It was like being on top of the world. It was very exciting.
And you mentioned that excitement earlier, and where does that same feeling of excitement come from nowadays with your business?
I'm a people person, and I stretch what we can do and make people do things that they don't believe they can do by empowering and driving them forward.
Wait a minute. Wait. I thought that thrill of being up on your dad's shoulders, and you were going to tell us every time you get involved with selling a business or something, but you went a different direction. You told me you get the thrill out of getting the best out of people, helping them get the best out of themselves.
Correct.
Tell me more about that.
I get a lot of energy being with people and seeing them accomplish things that they didn't realize that they could achieve themselves.
That's what turns you on?
That turns me on.
That's the reason the stuff happened at the funeral was so effective to you, isn't it?
Absolutely.
What do you mean?
Well, you see, you can make a difference in the world by helping everybody else make a difference in the world.
And you've been involved with 5 businesses, huh? Matthew, what other questions did you have?
How young were you when you were first interested in science?
In the middle school ages, I got an opportunity to work with a great science teacher, and I aspired to it, and then he used me to demonstrate some of the work in the classroom with the other kids.
How'd that make you feel?
Special. It just, it felt unique at the time.
Wait. How old were you when this happened?
In grade 7.
And what happened in grade 7? Give us a little bit more detail about that.
We were looking at fetal pigs and dissecting in class, and a lot of kids were squeamish about doing it.
And you?
I went ahead and was steady with the knife and was able to do the work and demonstrate to the rest of the class how to do it.
The teacher asked you to demonstrate to the rest of the class to do that. Why did he ask you to do the demonstration?
He saw confidence in me on taking it on.
So it was what was going on with the farm as well. I mean, I think Mom and Dad probably, when they saw you taking responsibility, fixing the tractors, building engines, and doing the farming, they probably supported you and gave you the room to do that. It sounds the same thing that the teacher did. It's like you take on responsibility and you take it and run with it. This business, gentleman, did you start this business?
No, it'll be 10 years old this year.
So it sounds to me like the founders or the investors brought you in to take the next step, like you did at farm, just like you did with the teacher with the fetal pigs. Am I correct about that assumption?
Yes, our founder has been a serial entrepreneur in mental health, built up several hospital systems in mental health and payer business. Just sold recently, Beacon Health, and the business wasn't achieving what he wanted, and he wanted somebody to take it to the next level. And so we're taking it from a genetic testing company in mental health to be the mental health company by the end of this decade.
It sounds like what you did with your mom and dad, taking responsibility for the farm, what you did with teacher, helping teach the other kids is what you're doing nowadays. What's the website address for this organization, Genamind?
Genamind.com.
How do you spell that?
GENOMIND.
.com. We've been speaking with Shawn Patrick O'Brien, CEO of Genamind, here on Executive Leaders Radio. Don't forget to visit our website, executiveleadersradio.com, to learn more about our executive leaders. We'll be back in a moment, right after this break.